Welcome back to C Files, folks. Thanks for joining me. Been busy lately. It's always busy. I'm just always going to be busy. I'm just determined that till the day the Lord takes me home, I'm just going to be busy. So these may not be daily videos, but they will be weekly for sure, more than one a week. And we're going through the scriptures in this one. This is a devotion time, and we're going to be in Genesis chapter 24. We've talked about Abraham, we've talked about Isaac, and now we're going to talk about Isaac and Rebekah, the wife of Isaac. And so let's jump right on in here and learn about them. And I've got a lot of study notes here. Let me just 24, 1 through 67. Let me read this real quick. A wife for Isaac. The account of how Rebekah becomes Isaac's wife forms one of the longest episodes in the book of Genesis, displaying exceptional narrative skill. The author highlights how God controls events so that after a long journey from Canaan to northern Mesopotamia, Abraham's servant is guided to Rebekah. The journey from Hebron, where Sarah was buried, to Nahor in the district of Hara, where Rebekah lived, was approximately 550 miles or 900 kilometers long along ancient routes. A journey that would have taken Abraham's servant approximately 21 days to travel. I've got the wrong glasses on. I need to get the other ones. Do I have them? That's that. Yep. Bear with me for just a moment. Well, 21 days travel. So that's what would take us a few hours took them 21 days by foot and camel. Wow. All right. Oh yeah, now I can see. So 21 days. So 550 miles. So yeah, take me I've traveled across the country 2,600 miles in 4 or 5 days in my car. 500 miles I could travel in a day, in a couple of days, easily. A day if I'm really moving hard in my car. So travel was much slower back then, and it's all along ancient routes that he traveled. A journey that would have taken Abraham's servant approximately 21 days to travel. A man traveling alone could go an average of 25 miles a day or so, faster than a caravan, whose travel speed would be about 17 to 23 miles per day. That's actually pretty good. I've done some hiking. I've done some serious hiking. And well, I was older when I was doing it in my 50s and not in that great a shape. And I would make 5 or 6 miles a day on mountainous, rough terrain. And of course, that's carrying 30 to 35 pound backpack. So, and going over some mountain terrain. So that it took a while. Now, the young guys, they could really move. They would get in 10, 12 miles on something like that. So this is not too bad, 17 to 23 miles per day for a caravan. Of course, they're on camels. Camels aren't the fastest moving things in the world. 25 miles is phenomenal. They must have been in incredible shape, incredible condition for a man traveling alone to get 25 miles in a day. That's moving pretty good. It says, then like Abraham, Rebekah must leave her family and country in an act of faith in order to journey to Canaan and marry Isaac, whom she has never met. Genesis's first audience would marvel at how God orchestrated the servant's faithfulness. Rebekah's positive response in some unlikely events to bring about the marriage, they would have, they would be better able to see their very existence as the result of God's guiding hand. So let's get into the story. Now, Abraham was old, well advanced in years, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said to his servant, the oldest of his household, who had charge of all that he had, put your hand under my thigh, that I may make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and God of earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell. Uh, now, put putting a hand under the thigh. Let's read about that. I'm going to read about 2 through 6 real quick. Well, 24:1, the observance that the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things confirms the special relationship between God and Abraham. And Abraham is deeply concerned that Isaac should not marry a Canaanite. He fears that this will draw him away from worshiping the Lord. The Canaanites are frequently portrayed as being wicked. Abraham entrusts the important task of finding a wife for Isaac to his most reliable servant, the oldest of his household, who had charge of all that he had. To place his servant under oath, Abraham instructs him to put your hand under my thigh. On the significance of this action, see note on verse 9. So let me go to 9. The servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham. Since striking one's thigh was possibly understood as a sign of remorse and submission, and that's out of Jeremiah 31:19 and Ezekiel 21:12, the placing of one's hand under the thigh of another may have indicated submission to the person's strength and authority. In any case, by undertaking this action, the servant binds himself to obey Abraham's request. All right. So he says, don't go among the Canaanites. Let me take that. You will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but will go to my country and to my kindred and take a wife for my son Isaac. The servant said to him, perhaps a woman may not be willing to follow me to this land. Must I then take your son back to the land from which you came? Abraham said to him, see to it that you do not take my son back there. The Lord, the God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and who spoke to me and swore to me, to your offspring I will give this land. He will send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. Um, you will take a wife for my son from there. From what land? From the land that God had promised him. But if the woman is not willing to follow you, then you will be free from this oath of mine. Only you must not take my son back there, back to where he came from. He's not going back. This is not a backwards move. This is a forward move. And we don't go back. Once you're in the Lord, don't go back. Go forward. Don't let reminiscing about the good old days mess you up. The good old days are ahead of us, not behind us. It's how we place our trust in God and move forward from there. God will continue to move us in a direction where we are maturing and advancing and becoming stronger in our understanding our faith, gaining the mind of Christ. Those things are important. My best days are not back there. My best days are ahead. To your offspring I will give this land. He will send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife for my son there. So he's going forward. And if the woman is not willing to follow you, then you will be free from this oath of mine. Only you must not take my son back there. So the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. Then the servant took 10 of his master's camels and departed, taking all sorts of choice gifts from his master. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. And he made the camels kneel down outside the city by the well of water at the time of evening, the time when women go out to draw water. And he said, O Lord, God of my master Abraham, please grant me success today and show steadfast love to my master Abraham. Behold, I am standing by the spring of water, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. Yet let the young woman to whom I shall say, please let down your jar that I may drink, and who shall say, drink, and I will water your camels. Let her be the one whom you have appointed for your servant Isaac. By this I shall know that you have shown steadfast love to my master. Before he had finished speaking, behold, Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her water jar on her shoulder. The young woman was very attractive in appearance, a maiden whom no man had known. She went down to the spring and filled her jar and came up. Then the servant ran to meet her and said, please give me a little water to drink from your jar. She said, drink, my lord. And she quickly let down her jar upon her hand and gave him a drink. When she had finished giving him a drink, she said, I will draw water for your camels also until they have finished drinking. So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough and ran again to the well to draw water. And she drew from all his camels. The man gazed at her in silence to learn whether the Lord had prospered his journey or not. When the camels had finished drinking, the man took a gold ring weighing a half shekel, two bracelets for her arms weighing 10 gold shekels, and said, please tell me whose daughter you are. Is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night? She said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor. She added, we have plenty of both straw and fodder, and room to spend the night. The man bowed his head and worshipped the Lord and said, blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his steadfast love and his faithfulness toward my master. As for me, the Lord has led me in the way to the house of my master's kinsman. Then the young woman ran and told her mother's household about these things. Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban. Laban ran out toward the man to the spring. As soon as he saw the ring and the bracelets on his sister's arms, and heard the words of Rebekah his sister, thus the man spoke to me. He went to the man, and behold, he was standing by the camels at the spring. He said, come in, O blessed of the Lord. Why do you stand outside? For I have prepared a house and a place for the camels. So the man came to the house and harnessed the camels and gave straw and fodder to the camels, and there was water to wash his feet and the feet of the man who were with him, the feet of the men who were with him. Then food was set before him to eat, but he said, I will not eat until I have said what I have to say. He said, Speak on. So he said, I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become great. He has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, male servants and female servants, camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old. And to him he has all that he has. My master made me swear, saying, Ye shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I dwell, but ye shall go to my father's house and to my clan, and take a wife for my son. I said to my master, Perhaps the woman will not follow me. But he said to me, The Lord, before whom I have walked, will send his angel with you and prosper your way. Ye shall take a wife for my son, from my clan, and from my father's house. Then you will be free from my oath when you come to my clan. And if they will not give her to you, you will be free from my oath. I came today to the spring and said, O Lord, the God of my master Abraham, if now you are prospering the way to go, that I go, try it again. O Lord, the God of my master Abraham, if you are prospering the way that I go, behold, I am standing by the spring of water. Let the virgin who comes out to draw water, to whom I shall say, Please give me a little water from your jar to drink. I have to correct something that I just realized I made a mistake, and I will correct my mistakes. I said he's not going back. He is taking Rebekah from his father's house. He doesn't go to the Canaanites because they are wicked people. So maybe there was some virtue in his father, in his house. It has to be a kinswoman. Let me let me read this again. On the significance of this action, in spite of having left Haran in North Mesopotamia almost 100 years earlier, Abraham refers to it as my country. So he left northern Mesopotamia, Haran, 100 years earlier, but he still refers to it as his country. Abraham does. He hopes that a wife may be found for Isaac from among his relatives there. So he's not looking back. He left, and Rebecca's going to have to leave. But he's going back to find Rebecca. Mesopotamia was the Greek title for the entire region between the Euphrates and Tigris rivers. Here, Mesopotamia is a translation for the Hebrew expression Arum Naharim, meaning Arum of the two rivers, an expression that denotes more precisely only the northwestern part of Mesopotamia. The city of Nahor, probably to be identified with Nekkor, which is mentioned in ancient texts that were recovered from Mari on the Euphrates, was located near Haran in northern Mesopotamia. Nahor is also the name of Terah's father and Abraham's brother. The use of the same name for both a city and a person is not unusual. Settlements are sometimes named after people, and people are sometimes named after places. Just wanted to go back and correct that. Now, let me see if I can't read a little bit better on this portion. Verse 42, we'll pick up there. I came today to the spring and said, O Lord, the God of my master Abraham, if now you are prospering the way that I go, behold, I am standing by the spring of water. Let the virgin who comes out to draw water, to whom I shall say, please give me a little water from your jaw to drink. And who will say to me, drink, and I will draw for your camels also. Let her be the woman whom the Lord has appointed for my master's son. Before I had finished speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came out with her water jar on her shoulder, and she went down to the spring and drew water. I said to her, please let me drink. She quickly let down her jar from her shoulder and said, drink, and I will give your camels drink also. So I drank, and she gave the camels drink also. Then I asked her, whose daughter are you? She said, the daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him. So I put the ring on her nose, and the bracelets on her arms. Of course, this is cultural back then. Then I bowed my head and worshiped the Lord and blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me by the right way to take the daughter of my master's kinsman for his son. Now then, if you are going to show steadfast love and faithfulness to my master, tell me. And if not, tell me. Then I may turn to the right hand or to the left, or that I may turn to the right hand or the left. Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, the thing has come from the Lord. We cannot speak to you bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has spoken. This is Laban. Now, Laban's going to come into the picture again later on with Jacob, one of Isaac's sons, born to Rebekah. And it's going to be an interesting story there. But verse 50 says this, then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, the thing has come from the Lord. We cannot speak to you good, bad or good. So we read that. Okay, verse 52. So he says Rebekah can go with him. When Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed himself to the earth before the Lord. And the servant brought out jewelry of silver and of gold and garments and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave to her brother and to her mother costly ornaments. And he and the men who were with him ate and drank, and they spent the night there. When they arose in the morning, he said, send me away to my master. Her brother and her mother said, let the young woman remain with us a while, at least 10 days. After that, she may go. But he said to them, do not delay me, since the Lord has prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master. They said, let us call the young woman and ask her. And they called Rebekah and said to her, will you go with this man? She said, I will go. So they sent away Rebekah, her sister, and her nurse. and Abraham's servant and his men, and they blessed Rebekah and said to her, Our sister, may you become thousands of 10,000s, and may your offspring possess the gate of those who hate him. Wow, they don't know how accurate that blessing was, because she became the mother of thousands and 10,000s through the line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Then Rebekah and her young women arose and rode on the camels and followed the man. Thus the servant took Rebekah and went his way. Now Isaac had returned from Bir Lahai and was dwelling in the Negeb. And Isaac went out to meditate in the field toward evening. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, there were camels coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from the camel and said to the servant, Who is that man walking in the field to meet us? The servant said, It is my master. So she took her veil and covered herself. And the servant took Isaac all the things that he had done. Then Isaac brought her into the tent of Sarah his mother, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. So Isaac was comforted after his mother's death, because Sarai had passed away. And I thought we had read about that. Anyway, we're going to mark our spot here at Genesis 25 and come back to that next time. Abraham's death and his descendants. We are at 28 minutes. So in the next video, the next reading, I'll be in Proverbs, and then I'll be in the Song of Solomon, and we'll move on from there. Thanks for watching, and we will be back with more of a devotion time here on the C Files.